My name is Marcus Smith. I am the creative director of Sunset Overdrive from Insomniac Games. Single player and multiplayer are tied together in that you play the same character. So whatever character you make in single player campaign is the character you'll play in multiplayer. All of the progression that you earn along the way, like if you unlock a new weapon in Chaos Squad, you'll bring it to your single player campaign. Any sort of progression that you do, any amps that you craft or anything like that, you'll bring it into Chaos Squad. So there's that progression system that comes through. And basically, single player and multiplayer. Single player is story driven. You're playing through a campaign, and multiplayer is you're playing with friends. And to us, it's always like you sort of do those two things differently, anyways. So we just are catering those experiences to one another with the same mechanics, the same progression system. So they're very similar. They just don't follow the same story progression. Yeah. So for post-release, we've announced we have a season pass kind of thing that will unlock all of the DLC that comes out along the way for people. We have things like that. We also have some exciting things coming out with content that will become available as you play the game, and people will have some ability to weigh in on that. So we'll talk more about that in the future, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are some of the aspects of the game which you are most excited about, like to introduce to people?
I mean, honestly, like this is going to sound like some schlub trying to sell his game, but I play the game all the time, and I find myself just like traversing through the world because we have all these crazy moves. You've got wall runs, you've got grinds, you can wall run around corners. We've got water dash where you can like glide across the water. You have air dash where you can shoot off, and I honestly just find myself playing around in the world like aimlessly for hours sometimes. And it's just super, super fun. So for me, that's the main thing, is seeing people experience Sunset City and be able to like have all of the abilities and be able to move around the world like no other game. Yep.
And what kind of platformers and RPGs have been inspirations?
Oh, inspiration for this game comes from everything. It's the mashup game of all time. I think in terms of like the color and the vibrancy, definitely Jet Grind Radio and Crazy Taxi and those like Sega games. Again, the inspiration of that feeling of just fun for fun's sake, a lot of that comes from those type of games. In terms of interaction with the world, there's a lot of games that have traversal, but a lot of them, it's traversal when you're not tied to the environment, sort of the negative space. So for us, Tony Hawk was a huge inspiration because that was a game where you have to know your surroundings. Like you have to know, I can go up and grind on that, or I can go and catch air off of this to get up there. And that's how we developed our world too, is you have to have that spatial awareness to kind of strategize where you need to be, and it's directly tied to the environment. So Tony Hawk, we always say it's sort of Tony Hawk with guns, and I think that's a good way of describing Sunset.
Yeah, awesome.
Yep.
Or Jet Set Radio with guns.
Yeah, exactly.
And what is it about the Xbox One that has kind of complemented the development of?
Well, with Xbox One, I think the main thing is just we can draw so much more on screen. Like, coming out of the last generation, we have a lot more enemies on screen. We have, again, we always get called out for having the crazy weapons. They're particle-based effects. We have effects everywhere. Chaos Squad, we have 8 times. 8 different guns can be going off at any given time. It's just a workhorse. Like, you can just pump a lot of stuff going on at any given moment. And that's what we got out of it.